Hi, my name's Storm, and today we're going to be talking about editing. Let me first start off with the basics so you understand what I'm talking about. What is editing? I know it might seem silly because most people understand and know what editing is, but in case you don't, I'll be focusing on the film part of editing instead of music, for example. Film editing is both a creative and technical part of the post-production process of filmmaking. The term is from the traditional process of working with film, which increasingly involves the use of digital technology. Next, the different kinds of editing. Montage. The technique of selecting, editing, and piecing together separate sections of film to form a continuous whole. An example of this would be the opening scene of Hot Fuzz showing how he got into the police academy. Continuity. A film or video creation of combining related shots or different compounds cut from a single shot into a sequence, making it look smooth. An example of this would be the Star Wars films, in particular the fighting scenes. Then is cross-cutting, techniques most often used in films to establish action occurring at the same time in two different locations. The camera will cut away from one action to the other. An example of this would be a fighting scene or a car scene. Next is transitions. There are a lot of transitions such as quick cut, fade in and out, wipe, dissolve, jump cut, and many more you can use to make the film more interesting. Linear. When a film keeps in the order of beginning, middle and end, meaning the story goes in order. An example of this would be Batman Dark Knight Rises. Then is non-linear, when the film may start with the end and end with the start. The audience doesn't know what order the film could go in. An example of this would be Memento. And last but not least is non-continuity. Non-continuity is when shots are mismatched to disrupt the impression of the time and space. This draws the audience attention to the process of cutting and disturbs the illusion of reality. An example of this would be a flashback. When someone goes in time, a tint is used and the shots become quicker. As you can tell so far, editing is an important and key part in making movies. There are also more reasons as to why editing is so important other than the obvious, that without editing there would be no movie, as nothing can get edited together. Most filmmakers film out of order, such as example switching between London and Hollywood. You wouldn't fly from London to Hollywood and back to London, so on and so forth. You would film all the scenes in London and then all the scenes in Hollywood, meaning all the scenes would be out of order and not make any sense. So editing makes the film make sense. Editing also makes the film flow together and is enjoyable for the viewers paying to watch. I'm very interested in editing. It brings everything together. Without the editing there would be no films because you need it to put all the shots together or to edit out parts that aren't needed. And it gives the film life. Editing can be considered an art, making clips into a movie, being creative with what you're given and using it to make something beautiful and unique. You can turn some average shots and movement into something exciting and interesting, turning a green screen into a car chase, making something transform into a monster that you wouldn't be able to do without editing. Using all your knowledge and putting it into your work, seeing everything to come together into a movie. The feeling it can give you is amazing. The feeling of accomplishment, pride, maybe even power over how the movie is put together. You can do so much with editing that can change a movie from a boring, uninteresting movie into an action-filled adventure, editing the scenes to be fast and cutting from one to the other, making it look interesting and dangerous, to cutting just at the right time for suspense. Editing is amazing, and without editing you would have no movies, which is why I enjoy editing. It brings everything the director and producer imagined and make it a reality.